There is actually, if you look at it with a critical eye and being honest with what you see, that right there is the way that cylinder would have been in that there engine, you know, right back there with the oiler pipe sticking up. So that being the bottom down there, and that's where that rust valley is. But it's not enough to disband the engine. So I kind of think the engine will, I think it'll run just fine with the new O-ring, and you know, that being the condition of the of what's in this engine. I'm just saying. It is quite a porous cylinder, and but it has a real nice thread there. Let's put it in that engine. We've talked about it enough. And keeping in memory, when you're working on one of these Type M International engines, that oiler pipe goes down through this casting on the late models ones. Early model didn't have that, but it was equally as important to maintain the oiler pipe in a straight up position. Early ones were prone to have that cylinder sleeve move. Hence, they captured it in this casting here. But keeping in mind that it should be to the point where that, you know, so. Okay, have y'all noticed it yet? I'll show you what it is. So actually when I took it apart, I noticed immediately that the part has been modified. It's not an original part no more. It's a modified part, repaired part, not modified, repaired. Such as it is, we're gonna go over and put it on the engine, and you can see that it's quite good condition. But as I'm looking at it, and as we're looking at this as a whole, you can, it's been repaired. This pin right here has been replaced in there, and it replaced it. Instead of taking that pin out and pressing another one in there, as was the original one, I'm talking about this pin right here down into that housing. And Martin might have made that, I'm not sure, or maybe even John might have made that. I think they have a lathe. And it's crooked. Without me measuring it, it's crooked enough, I think. But it's a length of straight metal, probably a bolt, I'm gonna think. 5/16 bolt, and then they drilled that out and threaded it, and then screwed this down into yonder, which is a decent repair. It really is. But I'm not sure what kind of adhesive that Martin used on this engine, but I will question him later. Okay, we'll go install it. We'll install that on the engine there, clean them bolts up and all. I got that bearing housing attached to the block. You know, I put some at their Permatex. I think I used the number. I think I used that number 2 on that flange right there. I got it bolted up there tight, good to go. Get that other side now. We got to put 2 valves in this engine. You know, valves cost $57 and some coin after that. I'm just saying, I'm gonna need 2. You know, I done got them laid in. I do have a choice between a new old stock bearing that ain't never been in an engine yet. Have a set for that big end on that rod there. Also have a very nice used set. We'll use the better of the 2. It's going to be the answer to which ones to use. Mark it in on that blank page there in your book. You just use the best set you got under new old stock parts. You know, that's what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, I use some of that Permatex. That number 1, that former gasket stuff, you know. It's got some volume body to it, you know. I used that on that thread down there going into that cylinder sleeve with that drip oiler pipe tube there. There we got that done. Let's get that crankshaft in there now. Well, I show you what my thinking is today. This is about where I'm at up to the present. This international engine, a Type M, belongs to Martin, and it came in to get running. And here I've got it in a box. You know, engine in a box. But we're putting her back together over there. And this is my thinking on the situation. Leave a comment. At any time, if I may elaborate, I think anytime you rebuild something, you try to make it a little bit better. And I'll show you a couple things. That this is the bearings for the big end of the rod up there. And this bearing right here is completely worn to where there, on that side right there, it's a faint line of where the oil groove would have been. And over here you can see how thick it is, indicating how much it's worn away. And the one next to it, its other half, it's not too bad. You could use that. That's a decent half a bearing. This is the problem. There wasn't enough. It's worn too much that you cannot adjust it with the shims in there. So, in order to set that right, you have to have a bearing. Okay, in the parts department, if you notice in the back here, and this is what was to choose from. 3 horsepower Type M or McCormick-Deering, and that's your rod bearing. It's 2 pieces, and there ain't no grease hole in it as it greases through the crankshaft internally to that center ring and goes all the way around and then flings out as a total loss oil system referred to. But this is a set of bearings I removed from an engine for some reason, and they're quite good. I could put them in this engine right here. Point being made that these bearings have to be replaced. So they cost like $57 and something. No, I'm not sure on the bearings. It's $57 for this valve, 3 horsepower. Costs $57. $57. And $57, 3 horsepower. Regardless, I'll see how much they cost. Actually, I should know that. Okay. I made a list, a note of parts, and that O-ring I done put up in that engine there. When we put this back together, these shims goes in this here, on this bearing half here, with these bearings. They have some radial wear circled around that way, but the oil grooves are quite deep. They're really good bearings. Well, and then the other half will go in the part on the block over there like that. Elementary. elementary at best. The part that was made onto that flywheel is this part right here. That's what the person that made that part was making. This is cast iron here, original one. And it has a brass collar that rides here. This was a late model one. But there's that. This bearing, rod bearing, this cost $74.59. So if you buy one on the internet, okay, this bearing that I have put in here to replace this bearing, which is worn completely away, unusable. And the other half, you know, it's got some, needs to be replaced if you can. So my thinking was, I have this set that I took out of an engine, and they're quite serviceable. Leave a comment down there what you would do. These are quite serviceable. I don't know. What percentage are they? Not very much. I wouldn't say they're probably, 20% wear, because now it's a little more than that. That's pretty decent wear on this one. That there looks like new. They're usable. So the other option was this set of bearings right here are new old stock, meaning that these bearings right here were made when the engines were made as replacement bearings and got stored away, and I scored them. I got these bearings from Barry, and so these bearings is gonna be in this engine right here for, got another engine going. But, the question is, would you put these bearings in your engine, new old stock, or these are worn not 50%, no, but 30% maybe. So I would option for a new set using the replacement new made bearings reproduction at $74.59 for the set. Would you rather have, would it be better? Yes. I think new old stock wins out over reproduction. And to that extent, if you're going to go to the trouble to replace these with the, that's probably the best you can get, new old stock in good condition, So, and I have laid in the parts department here, I already got them out, a set of shims to go in this year original, and on the other side crankshaft bearing, I have a set of them on standby. So also